2 to 3 times at least, because once you read, you just read it like a story, because you don't know what the company is, what is the background of that particular company. So just read it like a story, just like an unseen passage is being given to you. When it is unseen, then you on the after first reading it will become a seen passage for you. Now after getting a first reading, this is your task to get a paper and pen with you while reading it twice or thrice, to write down some key factors. What are the key factors here? The key factors always mean that you have to write down the main important factors. Like in textile industry, if there is a problem regarding the high cost of raw material, there you have to write a key factor, raw material, as cotton bales. So it might be possible that your problem solution of your problem is related with the price of cotton bale, or the harvesting of cotton bales, or the quality of cotton bales. Key factors, the factor which is actually majorly responsible for that particular problem only, right? Then the most important thing that you have to understand is you have to identify your weaknesses. Your means the company's weakness, opportunities, or in a very simple word, you all have heard about a term that is SWOT analysis. That is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And whenever you will go through a SWOT, you will be able to understand the complete structure of that particular organization for which you are actually doing a case study. Strength and weakness are completely internal to the organization. Opportunities and threats are completely external because they are being provided by the macro environment only. You have to look upon very rigorously that what are the major strengths and what are the major weakness of the farms, and whatever the strength and weakness are, they are the strength and weakness for this problem as well. That's why you have to understand, because when we will be moving forward to alternatives, we have to keep in mind this SWOT. Or you can do pest analysis also, there is a Six Sigma analysis also, DMAC analysis also. There are so many techniques through which you can go through this third step, that is identifying weakness and opportunities. I'm just giving the term SWOT because SWOT is much easier, and being non-engineers, you can easily get the idea of the same, and you can have a snapshot of the complete organizational constraints plus organizational stars, that where the company can excel by a SWOT analysis. After getting a complete situational analysis, you have read the case twice, thrice, you have noted down the key factor points. Now, why we are doing this case study? We are doing this case study for solving a problem, a case when there is a problem. So the most important part comes here is defining the problem. Defining the problem is not an easy task, but it's not a difficult task as well if you go very smartly over here. As I told you, you have to jot down all the key factors, and with the key factors, you have to find the problem areas. But the major problem, the students are mistaken always with the symptoms of the problem. So don't go with the symptoms. Always go to the root cause of the problem. For that, you have to, that's why I told you read twice, thrice. If it doesn't go by three, you can, so sorry. You can go 4 times, 5 times. Until and unless you're not getting the things, that you have to read between the lines, what the lines are saying. That is most important over here, because always you get mistaken by the symptoms, because whatever the first written statement in the case is not exactly the problem. Because until and unless you're not aware about the problem, there is no use of finding a solution. How you will find a solution? You will not at all find a solution. And then the most important thing, you have to make a note of available as well as missing information. Right, available information you can make a note, but why for missing information? For missing information, because if you have understand the problem, if you have defined the problem, then you might find, if you actually got to the problem and the cause of the problem, you will find that there is something missing. If I will be having this information as well, then I can find some better solution for the same, right? So when you are giving recommendation, when you are preparing a report of the solution of a case, at the last you give recommendation. So at the time of recommendation, you can use this section, missing information, that if this particular information is also available in the case, then the solution could be this, or we can come with some better solutions with this and this. So available as well as missing. But what is actually missing, that is only aware when you actually identify the problem. If you are not able to identify the problem, you are not able to identify the missing information at all. So I just told you that don't mistake with the symptoms. Let us just take an example so that you can understand that why I am saying, just like symptoms are not like the problem. If I have a fever today and I take just medicine for a fever and I'm not getting cured for last 2-3 days, then what will happen? It means I'm just look at the symptoms of fever and start taking medicine of fever only. But when I come to the deeper cause and some tests are being conducted, the cause becomes due to some ailment. So you have to find the root cause, that why this particular symptom is being occurring. The symptom could be something different, because fever can be caused due to a number of reasons. In the same, I have put on the same slide, and for that you have to be, as I told you on the very first slide, you have to be a student, you have to be a researcher with a why. Why, and why. Until and unless you're not going for why, you are not going to solve a case judiciously, or you're not giving justification to your research. So suppose you have a case and on the very starting you get a problem that the profits are being declined, right? And if the profits are being declined, what certain points, because you are non-engineers, I know you people are very logical, your logics are well developed to your technical skills. So you can easily come to the point, if the profits are being declining, maybe the sales are not going perfect, right? So you can end up there and you can just give a recommendation or a solution. A company should increase, or this XYZ company should increase the sales so that they can enhance the profit. Or you can come with the solution that prices could be lower or cost should be cut it down. These are some certain reasons that profit could be increased or it could be improved. But if we go to why, and why, or again one more why if it is required, then we can find the actual cause of the problem. What can happen in this case that I have taken as an example over here is, say for example, if the profits are being declined and then I started digging deeper and deeper and deeper, and I found, yes, profits are being declined due to the sales decline, right, from the last few years. But then you should now look for why this sales has been declined. Only then you are doing justification to your case. And when you go to search for this why, you came to know that most of the sales territories or the regions are not having a sales force. When they're not having a sales force, sorry, I'm audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you're
Yes,
audible.
ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, okay. So when the sales have been declined, I came to know that there is no sales force. So it's a simple scenario. If there is no sales, so how the sales are going to be happen? But now you should, somebody can end up here as well. Ki sales force, there is no sales force, so there is no sales and no profits. That's it. End up solution is ki sales force go, you should hire more sales force. No, you should ask one more why. That why this sales force is not there when there are some sales regions are being designated. Why there is no sales force? Then when you come to this next why, then you came to know that the turnover ratio has been escalating from the last few years, or you can say, as I have taken an example, it has been escalated up to 80% or 90%, or it is being escalated. Why it is being escalated? Okay, fine, escalated यहाँ पर भी खत्म कर सकते. No, we don't have to end up until we can't find a root cause. Why this is being escalated? Why attrition rate is very low and turnover ratio is so high? Then I come to a problem solution when I go to this why, that why sales force turnover is doubled, or it is going to 80%, or it is going to escalating, means there is a change in incentive plan by HR department, and this was done just to reduce some variable expenses by the HR department, and this is giving a direct effect on the turnover ratio of Salesforce, and it is been happening from the last 2 years. That is why the things are going okay, fine. So what I would like to tell all of you on this note is, the main point that you have to consider is to dig deeper and deeper. Only then now we came to know that the problem of declining profit is just not because of sales. It is actually, the problem is related to finances, but the root cause comes to find there in the HR department. So don't get confused that if there is a finance case study, the solution could be in finance department only. There could be a solution in some other department as well. So the only thing that you have to consider here is to dig deeper more and more, only then you can find this. Fine. So the next we have to consider here is the major key point that I just told you, that whatever other additional information is being given to you, you don't have to mess with all those information. You just have to pick and prioritize the main problem statement. The main problem statement, the profits are being declining in this case, in this example, but and then you have to go with the basic 4 to 5 whys at least. 4 to 5 whys at least you have to go for solving a problem, and then you can easily make a perfect use of information and the data that is being provided to you. After getting this complete thorough analysis of all the whys and finding a complete problem, where is the root cause, when you know the cause, then you can easily provide the solutions. Now you have to provide a solutions, a list of solution, but a very careful, don't create a very long list of solutions, because this can be done by each and everyone. Your solution should be directly as per the problem statement. The problem is declining profit, the cause is change in incentive plan. So your solution should be just related to that, revising the incentive plan that can enhance, that can bring more sales force to the organization, and which will help to improve the attrition rate in the organization as well in this case. So your solution should directly hit the problem, and they should operate in organizational constraint. This is very much important. Say you give the solution of an incentive plan of every time whenever you will make a sales of whatever sales you are doing, you will be getting a 10% incentive of the same, but organization can't afford that particular incentive. So this solution is completely vague. It will not work. Your organizational constraints are always to be considered. That is why on the very first note I told you to do SWOT. what are the strength and the weakness. If the organization finances are not so strong, so then they can't give the financial incentives in that case. In that case, you can give them some other additional benefits. It could be a leave benefit. It could be a paid leaves if they will work for Saturdays and Sundays as well, or it could be some anything. It could be a mediclaim policy as well. Whatever you would like to suggest, you can give, but they should be under the organizational constraints. So when you will develop the alternative, you have to evaluate all the alternatives. Accordingly, you have to address, you should check that whether, sorry, whether your alternatives are actually related to the problem. If they are actually related with the problem that we are stating, then you should go further to check whether they are consistent with the organizational mission, that why the organization is being started up. If the organization is being started to serve for customer value, then your incentive plan should be like this, where you are also satisfying your employees as well. When you are giving value to your employees, then only they can deliver the value to the customer only. So whenever you are providing or finding some solution, or you will write while writing a case study in this competition, just check for your solution twice or thrice, that whether the whatever the solutions you're writing, whether they are matching with the problem statement. If yes, then next check should be there, that whether they are matching with the organizational mission. Then third thing that you have to check, that the whether organization is able enough resources to fulfill these alternatives or to utilize these alternatives. If your alternatives are very fascinating and very good, but the organization which is asking you for the alternatives is not able enough to handle these alternatives due to financial crunches, or due to some top management constraints, then your solutions are vague. So you, here your logical thinking and your managerial thinking, your context to the problem, your different perspective for looking to the problem and finding solution will come in the work. And you have to find a solution that will work within the premises of the organization. Premises means limitations of the organization. If not, sometimes you feel that these are the least alternative that I am providing, so organization has to add some resources at least, only then the solution can work. Then you can also provide some solutions where some additional resources are required. Say for example, a financial incentive you can recommend if the company is providing. So if they want a immediate boost in the profits, then there is utmost requirement to give a financial incentive to the sales force, so that whosoever are existing sales force, they work with their 100% capacity, and they will also give reference of their friends and relatives who can work for the organization in lieu of those incentives as well. So these type of recommendations you can also give in the case studies. So this is all from my side. I hope I have cleared all the doubts in your minds regarding the financial case studies. Rest is up to you. Thank you.
Mamarian Mamarian has written something in the chat. Can you just?
He just have written that I have a doubt. I want to know what doubt he has.
Right, ma'am. Thank you for addressing my doubt. So basically, in the second slide that you were sharing with us, you told us that the case study that we would get, we would read it as a story, right?
Hmm.
We
First,
won't be
first, on the very first instance.
right. We won't be knowing anything about the organization, uh, of which the case study we are reading or we have been provided with. So, like the last slide that you shared, you told us that while giving out the solutions, you have to keep in mind the resources available, limitations and the resources available of that, basically the resources that that company have, and the limitations that the company have, that the company or the organization have. So in that case, we have to basically we have to have a good knowledge about the organization or the company about which we are like getting a case study, right? So
Right.
would we provided with basically the information about the company or the organization before we are provided with a case study?
No, listen, Abita. What I had told you also after that, that you have to do a SWOT analysis, right? When you read the story, when you read the case twice or thrice, after that you will have to see the symptoms. And then I told on the third point that you have to do the SWOT analysis. When you will do the SWOT analysis of the organization, then you will be easily get to know what is the actually power or the strength of the organization and what is the weakness, and there you will be getting a complete crux of the organization. You don't have to go into the board of director trustees and all that. You just have to, first I told you to look the problem, and then I told you to go for the SWOT analysis. What you will do, if the problem is of profit related, then you have to do the SWOT analysis which is actually related with that problem only, because you are not going to do the entire management of that organization, right? You're just only solving a one particular case of that organization. So first come with the problem, then go with the SWOT analysis, and SWOT analysis will provide you the constraint that the organization is having. And then when you are finding the alternatives, then you have to match the alternative with the SWOT. Yes, this one is the alternative. Say I took the example of HR incentive plan. If I took the financial incentive should be given, then I saw the balance sheet. I took the strength and weakness. I saw the weakness that the company is already running through a lot of debts. If the company is already running through a lot of debts, how could it provide some financial debt? So I have to cross down that alternative. In that way, you have to solve.